What's up? Hey, everybody. Hi. Sorry, I am just a couple of minutes late, but good to see everybody. I am going to just take a second and I'm going to open my Instagram. I'm trying to stream on 2 platforms, which if you've been with me for a minute, then you would have known my struggles from trying to do this. So I appreciate your patience. Anyway, I cannot see. I'm doing this on YouTube. So if you can, oh yeah, I have to fix Instagram. If you can let me know, I can see you guys in here. I can't see your names like I can in on Zoom. So tell me say hello. Thank you. That's what I was trying to get at. Say hello. Tell me who you are. As I try to get connected over here to Instagram. And tell me what you got going on today. How are you feeling? How's everyone doing? Let's see if I can figure out how to live stream. Public, next. Copy. Sorry. I just got off the call in our, in the right one? Sorry, guys. Hey, I'm sorry. If I can't figure this out, then I'm going to, here we go. Source Studio, live. Save changes. Paste your stream key. Oh, oops, sorry guys. One more time. And if I can't get this working, then we'll just get back to business. Hi, Vereen, Sahara, Lisa, Tamika. Hey. I wish this, I still like doing it on Zoom, I think better, because then I can see everybody and I can pick on you. So now I'm just going to understand. Now I'm going to remember that you guys are here. So Lisa, Brandy, Tamika, Vereen, Sahara, you guys can't leave because I'm going to be talking to you the whole time today. So Emily's here. Thank you, Emily. Just a shout out to Emily. So you guys know, Emily is my faithful rock star who helps me get everything done. So Emily, if you guys know me at all, I have lots of ideas and I am always working on something. And so Emily supports me so much and helps me execute. So if you guys ever need anything inside of Launch or on Instagram or whatever, Emily is the lady who's going to be able to help you probably better than me. So shout out to Emily, everybody. Okay, so I haven't done a live in a little while, and I am going to live stream on Instagram. There is a lag on Instagram. So I'm going to try to watch both. So let's see what happens, and just be kind to me and be nice to me. One thing that we typically have done inside of Flippin' Launch, which is our free community on school, I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to screen share in a second, and I'm going to scroll inside the community, see if we had any questions. This call, it's going to be an hour. My goal, or what I'd like to do, is I'd like to review a deal with you. So if any of you guys watching, either on YouTube, drop it inside of the comments. Give me an address if you're interested in letting me do a deal review for you. If you want me to break one down, we could do a deal review live. I always find that to be really helpful. And then we can have open Q&A. So a deal analysis can, depending on the property, can take a minute, but so that's how I plan to do this today. So if anybody has a deal, please post it, whether you're on Instagram or on YouTube. And then in the meantime, I'm going to just go ahead and share my screen here in Launch. And let's see what's happening inside there. I always think it's nice to see inside the community. So let's see here. Nope, messed it up. Cancel. Present, share screen. We're going to share a tab. It's like every day. Every time I do this, you feel like I'm like brand new. Just I've never done this before. So can everybody see this okay? I'm going to hop back over here and see the comments. Can you guys see? Oh, I don't like that layout. Hang on. That's better. All right. Everybody can see that. Okay. Yes. Okay, I'm just going to assume. Okay, so I will tell you, this was the whole big topic that we had inside of our community. Obviously, this is a conversation that I'm having at home with my husband because he brought me a deal. He flips locally in the city that we live in. And so he brought me a deal, and it was like a conversation of, what should I offer? What are the numbers? The list price, the moral of the story is the list price was $159 and the max allowable offer was $110. And I'll tell you, I don't think he made the offer. And he was a little bit hesitant too, because there was such a big spread. There was such a big spread on like the list price to max allowable. So he didn't make the offer. So my recommendation is always to start with using the 70% rule when you're doing deal analysis. So that's your after repaired value times 70% minus your renovation cost. That gives you your max offer. And then if it's within 70% of that, always shoot your shot. Somebody on Instagram is looking for the link. So hang on one second and let's see if I can give this to you. We're on YouTube is where we are. Let's see if I can get you the link here. Copy. And we're in our school community too. So I don't know if, I'm sorry, we should have put that on my Instagram stories or something today, but I don't know that we did. Anywho, so that was a conversation that we've been having a lot, right? Of like just going ahead and making as many offers. So I'm having it at home. I'm going to post the little story for you guys later. But if you're not making offers, you're not going to get deals. I think too many people sit around and they think that this unicorn is just going to fall out of the sky. So, but anyway, so that's been a conversation. We talked about that today inside of my coaching community about making more offers. And so everybody's kind of committed to doing that. So just wanted to scroll in here. If you guys on Instagram in particular are not in school, like please come and join us in Flip and Launch. We have a huge community now, which has been fun. I say huge, 2,600 people, which is insane. Emily, when we started this, we opened this in September. So that's pretty awesome. So come and share in here. I haven't done a live call in here for a little while, but we'd love to see you in here. So you can make some connections about people. Stacia has a great question here. So we can talk through some of this. But does anybody have a deal? Okay, Myrtle Beach. Cool. And then I'm going to leave Stacia's question up here and I'm going to come back to hers in case nobody else gives me any good questions here. Joe answered a good question. All right. So is everybody in launch? Everybody's watching on YouTube and or Instagram? You better be. Okay. I'm going to stop sharing that. Now, we got a deal going here. All right. So I'm going to go and pull this up and we'll just do this deal analysis. And for those of you on the Instagram, I guess if you just go over to my YouTube channel, you'll be able to see us streaming live. And that's where you could maybe watch it in a bigger screen. You can ask questions on there. I'm trying to watch you on Instagram. Maple Street, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. So I'm in South Carolina. Okay, so here's what I like to do with deal or no deal. I do not live in Myrtle Beach. I am not an expert in Myrtle Beach. I don't know if you are. So just take that with context, right? So I'm going to just do this deal analysis based on the information that I have today, with my knowledge and experience. So I can't guarantee anything. And ultimately that's what you guys are going to do too, right? Like if you're doing deal analysis, if you're looking at stuff, you're just going to use whatever information you have today to analyze the deal, right? And then you go back and verify the information with professionals, with a mentor, with a real estate agent, contractors, so on and so forth. Okay. All right. So let's share. I'll share my screen again. Sorry. I'm going to just tell you guys, full disclosure, it's hard to stream on multiple platforms. It's like so many screens I've got going on over here. All right. Let's try again. Present, share, Myrtle Beach. All right, everybody, you can see that? Give me a yes on YouTube. There are a couple other deals you guys put in here. Vereen, John, you guys put some deals in there. If I have time, I'll try to get through them. So let's see what happens. But Mr. Express, if you have any questions, have you already done deal analysis on it? Have you made an offer on it? Tell us what's happening. Okay, I'm sorry it's small. There you go. Give me some context as I go and do my thing. Okay, so we're going to search through this. So if I was to just look at this deal, if somebody texted me, a wholesaler texted me, my real estate agent or whatever, and said, hey, Stephanie, check out this property on Maple Street. This is what I do. I just put it into Google. I like Zillow, so I'd go to Zillow first. But to be honest, Redfin's been really good for comps as well. But I'm just going to go through my process for you. So I'd click on it in Zillow. It's off market. So now this is challenging for me because I don't have any interior pictures. Okay, so do you have an offer price or any pictures or the renovation amount for this one by any chance? And if not, we're going to have to move on. So ideally, if you're bringing me a deal, I need to have interior pictures, or if you already have a estimate for the rehab costs, that would be helpful too. So let me know. I'll wait a second. Anyway, so I'd come in here, say we've got some pictures we're looking at. Okay, I'd scan all of the information about the property, and then ultimately I'd go back to a map. Let's watch. Zillow's going to fail me today as I wonder why they're not showing me a map. Okay, let's try in, look, you've stumped me intentionally, maybe. No, I'm just kidding. See if there's a Redfin. Of course not. Is this the same one? Is this the same one? 506 Maple? Is this the same one? Oh, I've done deal analysis on it. Made no offer. 165 reno. My max would be 220. So this is the same one you were looking at? Okay, cool. So this is the property. There's a little bit more pictures. This is the inside. Doesn't look horrible. Just messy. Little hole in the fence. Is that a hole or is that a poster? It's weird. Or it's a mirror. Look, it's a mirror. It's a mirror. And some tarp stuff going on. Okay. And have you done a flip or anything before? Would this be your first one, or have you invested in real estate before? And what's your name, by the way? Okay. So what I would do, sorry, let's back up. So we're looking at this piece of property. It's active for sale, 488, 2,000 square feet. I guess it's a duplex, right? Obviously you can read it. Owner financing available, 2 duplexes, 508 Maple, 1 bed, 1 bath. Rear is 1 bed, 1 bath. Rear building on the right side. Oh, it's 2 duplexes, so it's 4 units. 400 days on Redfin. Oof. Yeah, it's a 4-plex. And what's your exit strategy on this? So I'd go into Redfin and click on nearby homes for sale. Now it's going to be a bit unique, right? Because we're going to be looking at sold properties in the last year, price. I'm not going to worry about it, but it would be a multifamily. It's going to be hard for you to find that. Maybe I'm wrong. I think it would be challenging to find 2 duplexes that would be comparable. So most likely with something like this, rent is crazy high, I would long-term hold. So something like this, you'd use like ultimately like a gross rent, right? So how much would each unit rent for? What would your total rents be? And that would be help you understand what your valuation would be. Okay, let's keep looking at it. Sorry, I lost my windows. I was just checking over there on, I think one of my dogs are locked in a room out there too. All right, So I would just go back and look at this. I mean, we've got some comps here. You're not going to find like great comparable properties, so I don't think. But we can use your numbers. If you're long-term holding, what's your, is this not showing what I'm looking at on here? Oh, I see. I'm so sorry. Share this tab. I was going through, sorry guys. Oh, I know I'm frozen. Sorry, technical difficulties. Okay, I was just going through some of these. Are you guys still there? Can you hear me? Emily or anybody, can you hear me? Duplex 1, 1247, duplex 2, 3200. Okay, thanks, Nick. Okay, so I guess what's your question with this? Is it a good deal for a rental? Rental's a little bit different, just because it's going to depend on, it's going to be depend on your rents, which you told me. You told me 3,100 and 1,200. Now, is that for the whole duplex? For both sides? You gave me a hard one here. So many moving parts. This is a harder one because essentially you've got 4 units going on in here. 1247, 3,200. And that's the total rent for the whole place. So if I added that up, somebody probably could do it in their head, but I won't. It's 4,447 is the monthly rent. Oh, you just told me. 5694 total rents. That's your total rent as is, or your projected rents? And hey, everybody on Instagram. Thanks for hanging out with me. It's interesting to stream this way. There's a little bit of a lag projected after reno. Okay. All right. So we've got a property that is, you're saying your ARV is 480, total rent after rehab is 5694. So typically, what you'd be doing, so they just asked, multifamilies are analyzed differently than houses. Yeah. So especially multifamily. So single family usually is going to be a little bit similar when you're talking about the after repaired value. Now with a multifamily, and again, I'm just going to speak for small multifamily, which I've had experience with, right? So I've bought a few fourplexes, some duplexes, triplex, etc. Anything over that is essentially the same, but I haven't personally purchased them. So I'm only going to advise you on what I know and from my experience. So with a multifamily and with rental properties, et cetera, you always want to understand the valuation ultimately comes back to what that property is going to produce in rents. So usually it's like a gross rent multiplier. And just like quick back of the envelope, we're usually looking around that 1%, right? Is everybody familiar with that 1% rule for rental? So if a property is worth, in this case, 500, or the monthly rent is 5,700, let's just say, then the value, right? You'd want the value to be like a 570, or could be 570 rather. But if he told me the ARV was 480 and he was only getting like 3,000 in rents, that wouldn't really be a good deal. You want it to be at like 1% or better. So based on this, your after repaired value of 480, which it's hard for me to say, it's just going to be a much more unique property and would be too difficult, to be honest, for me to just whip up on here on my live stream, because we're going to be looking at, like this one isn't necessarily comparable because it's just a duplex, but this is a duplex. It sold last March for 415. Okay, well, that's good, right? There was another couple other duplexes that I saw in here. Like this one sold a year ago, right? For 480. I'm sorry, I think my internet's lagging a little bit. Did it pop up? I think I have too many streams. I think I have too many things streaming. Anyway, we're gonna have a harder time finding true comps, like because we'd have like two duplexes on the same lot, blah blah blah, to find like valuation. But ultimately, your value should be off of that that gross rents. So based on what you're telling me, I mean, if you can get the property for the 125, I mean, as long as you're within that 75%. So if you're wanting to go back and refinance it, you'd want the 480 times 0.75, right? So you'd want to be all in at 360. So 235. Yeah, your 220, I think you said, is your max allowable. And then from there, you just need to understand how much money you're going to have in a loan and is it going to cash flow. I think if you can get it done for 220, I think you'd be in good shape. Does anybody want me? I'm sorry, there's like, it's difficult for me to like jump around from window to window. Does anybody want me to continue to break this down further or have any other questions? Yeah, so you're saying that they're asking 488. You need to offer 220, which is crazy low. So kind of the question comes back to, I mean, ultimately they can offer whatever they want to offer. You know, why are they offering 488? How much rent could you get as is? And are your renovation costs accurate, right? Like, could you get 4,000 a month total, right? As is, then, you know, probably your rehab and your projected rents, et cetera, might be a little bit different. But at some stage, your rents are going to be capped by the market too, right? So even if you fixed it up a ton, maybe nobody would ever live in a 2-1, no matter how nice it is in Myrtle Beach for X amount of money. So there's going to be some limiters on the rehab there. Yeah. So for a property like this, I mean, you could throw it out there and see if they take 50% of list price, but you'd want to go back and just verify all of those numbers and make sure they're really, really accurate. Otherwise, you know, maybe is this your first deal? Have you done a lot of rental properties before? I know I threw out a whole bunch of random numbers for you guys, so I do apologize. Okay, I'm going to pick another one. Give me an easier one. You guys making me analyze the 2 duplexes in Myrtle Beach. No, just kidding. Okay, I'm going to go up to the top. I'm going to take the next person who put it in. I'm sorry, I don't think I can do all of them. Let's see. Miss Glendon. Oh, Miss Glendon, you were first, actually. I'm sorry. Let me see. Do you have any other questions? First deal, use a 203K loan. You've got a lot of stuff going on with that one. There's a lot of moving parts with that one. So I would proceed carefully. If you're just trying to get your first property in your portfolio, I mean, you could go with like a small multifamily like that. There's no reason why you can't. I mean, I might just buy a rental property, right? I just might buy one and just like get the ball rolling and like get some reps in and feel better. But totally up to you. So, but either way, shoot your shot, make the offer, throw it out there. Okay. Miss Glendon, I'm going to do yours. Let's see here. Now, inside of my mentorship program, we do like, we do deal analysis inside there. Of course, you can bring stuff into the community as well. And I think some members are starting to help each other with their deal analysis. But I mean, you could probably post it in the free community too if you wanted. But yeah. Okay. Let's see. Can you guys see this yet? No. There. Okay, Miss Glendon, what are your numbers? You got it? Have you made an offer on this yet? And if not, why not? Okay. Let's see. Oh, I like it already. We'll see what the numbers are. Do you have did you do you have your numbers there, Miss Glendon? Okay, let's see. I like it. I like it. There is either a broken window or an AC unit there or something. What that is. Look at the chandelier. Okay, so I always go in and I like looking at Zillow first. I just like going through and scanning the pictures and seeing how easy or hard or whatever, what's going on with the rehab, right? Just kind of gauge like, is there something I want to deal with? The last one, I don't know if I wanted to deal with that last one, to be honest now. If you can get it for 200, I would deal with it. So this house has been on the market for 42 days. They just did a big price reduction just a couple of days ago. So if I see something like this, or if I had this one maybe on my list, or maybe I've already done deal analysis, like I'm pretty interested to see if if this property is still on the market. Because if they just came down like 15K, usually that stirs up a little bit of activity. So I'd kind of be interested to see. I also like to come down and check out where they started listing the properties, right? So they've just been on the market, right? 41 days. They started at 309. So I just like coming in and kind of getting an idea. Now, they bought this property last year for 177. So that's interesting to me because it sure doesn't look like they've done any work on it. I don't know what happened with that, but anyway. All right, so from there, I'm going to go into my little map, my little trusty map over here. I'm going to go over to my lot lines. And so instantly, I like to see some certain numbers here. Now, ideally, if you could see like these little yellow dots, those are recently sold on Zillow. If I can see some of these little yellow dots that are significantly more than my subject property, that's really what I like to see. Now, these aren't significantly more. This is 379, 369, 360. Active properties, these little red dots. I don't like that, to be honest. Like, I don't like that because I'm going to guess that our ARV is probably going to fall into that ballpark. Okay, 18 days on Zillow, still hasn't sold. We're going to go back. We're going to go back to our little map. And I'm sorry, as I'm over here, I can't see any questions. So I'll come back and scroll through questions in a second. Let's see if we can see a sold one. Closed, 360. When did it sell? Sorry, guys, my computer, I think I have all of these streaming things are lagging a little bit. It's annoying. Sold a year ago. Oh, interesting. 275, 410. It's interesting. Okay, 360 closed. That's interesting. Okay. Let's keep looking. Let's see if Glendon answered. Okay, Glendon. Oh, Glendon is boarding. Are you going on an airplane? Okay, too low, 91. 91,000. You're going to have to offer way less. So I'm going to just kind of cut to the chase here without spending too much time going through this deal analysis. Oops, I'm sorry. Let's look on Redfin really fast if it's there. So again, I'd come over to Redfin. Redfin is a little bit easier because if you saw like when I was going through all of the little yellow dots, I like Zillow, but sometimes they're not very recent. But if you come over to Redfin and you're looking for comps, you can look at more recent comps. You click on nearby homes for sale on their little map. Okay. And then you can change this here to sold because we really want to see what's sold. Now it's interesting though that there were 3 active for sale on the street for like a 360 to 370. So I'd sort of like proceed with caution. And what I mean by that is when I do my deal analysis, let's assume they're all like around the same price. I would probably list mine well under and just be a bit more conservative with that. So I don't think that there's any, like our house is right in here. Camelot Woods, I think was the address. So there's nothing really close by. I don't love that these comps are a little bit further away. I don't know, again, I don't know this market. Like over a major road like this, these probably aren't comparable. This one's closer, but this might not be the same neighborhood, right? Here's a 425. But that's interesting. Like we've got a 425, a 415 kind of close by. I might then go back and filter a little bit longer, a year. Of course, we want to see more recent. But see, look, we've got a 5, 425, 385, 390, 425. Like, I think you're going to be, I don't know, I think that one's too high. Whoops. I'm going to go a little closer. So you just want to stay close in. I think staying between like major roads is a good idea. But what I would tell you is the thing that's like the biggest red flag for me was the fact that you had those sold properties or those active properties rather. Like, look, you have a 294, 360, 376, and a 370. So if you're coming back, like you need to be a better product than these houses, right? This is 2,100 square feet. I think ours is quite a bit smaller. I don't think there's, I mean, just as a guess, I don't think there's enough spread on this. I think you're going to have to do, you're going to have to get it really cheap. And so let's do one more little exercise here. I'll go here. Okay, so this is my personal deal or no deal calculator here that I pulled up. Let's see, is it sharing? Okay, so I'm going to just skip over to this deal deep dive. So you guys should all have access to my deal or no deal calculator. If you don't have one, please let us know. We had some issues fairly recently with our emails going to spam or links broken. So I do apologize. So if you need one, just let me know. Let Emily know. Send us a DM on Instagram or on school, and we'll make sure you get one. But what I would do with Miss Glendon's, so she said, I think your ARV, and I didn't go through square footage, but I think your ARV, let's just call it like a 365. It's kind of right in the middle of all of those. We're going to make ours really nice. Miss Glendon's going to put in 91,000, right? So we're going to make some assumptions here just because we want to get through this deal analysis. If we were to have max allowable offer at 70%, what was our list price on this one? 293. Sorry, I'm freezing. Come on. Okay. 293. Oops. Sorry, guys. Okay, don't do that. 293 is our list price. So our max allowable offer be 164,000, which is 51% of list price. So I probably wouldn't make that offer. If it's 70%, right? If it's greater than 70% of list price, like I always make the offer. Also, at a higher price point, maybe our max allowable is 75% instead of 70. These are just some like little tweaks you can make to get deals to work. But even still, I probably wouldn't move forward with this. But you could shoot your shot and just throw it out there. I'm going to offer you 182. They bought it a year ago for 177. So that kind of, those numbers kind of pan out. But there's really not any room in this one for you, I don't think. So yeah, see, look, under 380 for sure. Bill Clinton's here. Bill Clinton. What's up, Bill Clinton? That's funny. Max allowable of 222. Okay, let's check Miss Glendon's here just for fun. She said 222. It's an angel number. Actual reno 90. I think that's kind of high. I think you could probably do better than 90, but anyway. And then your after repaired value 365. And I think You said 380, right? 380. So whatever, we could be, I think 365 just based on those comps there, though. Let's say we put out a much nicer product. Let's say we do push up to the 380. So instantly our loan to value is 2%. But let's see what like these numbers look at. Yeah, we're not making any money, Miss Glendon. So we don't like it. We like making money over here. But anyway, so that's kind of how that one would pencil out. And it's totally fine. Your only job is to do your deal analysis and make offers. So I probably wouldn't offer on this, but maybe you want to. And if you were to, I'd go a little bit lower, right? If you offered like a 182, what does that look like? Okay, our loan to value is there, right? We've got 182, we've got closing costs, hard money lenders fees included. We've got our reno budget. These are just like built-in numbers. Of course, you can change them. So our total project cost, we got 282,000 in total. Purchase price, closing costs, rehab, etc. So we come over here. That's our 380. Okay, so you have your total project cost. You might have some closing costs. Again, these are going to be dependent on your market. So you always want to come back and like pencil this out a little bit better. This is our financing costs, home warranty, real estate commissions, etc. And so if we got it for 182, our net profit would be 52,000. That'd be pretty cool. But would they take the 182? That's what you got to find out. Erica asked for a copy of the deal analysis spreadsheet. Now, if you do go into our school community, you can get a copy, but if you could send us a DM on in school or on my Instagram account with your email, we can make sure you get it, but you can also find it inside school as well if you need it. Gabriella, yeah, you can watch this later. It should just be live on my YouTube channel. That we're still working out our tech kinks over here. You learned comp gives you ballpark on the price. That's why I comp first. Okay, I don't know what that means, but that's okay. I need more context. Okay, we've got 20 minutes left. I've got a bit of a hard stop because I have to go pick up my daughter and go to the park for an hour between calls. Do you guys want to talk through anything? You guys have any questions? I see tons of deal analysis in here, so that's awesome. But do you guys have any questions that I can answer for you right now, whether it's about deal analysis or real estate in general that I can answer? And I'm going to go in, let's see, I can stop sharing. Okay. And I'm going to go and look and see what's happening on Instagram. Nobody's asking. It's kind of hard. I don't love watching Instagram lives. Do you guys watch Instagram lives? Yes, Miss Glendon, it's going to be recorded. Oh. Well, Miss Glendon, just make a lower offer. She said she's going out tomorrow to meet the contractor. I think your rental costs were high, to be honest. If you post this in the community, we can look at it too. I think your renovation costs were high, so that might change your max allowable, right? So if you could get the rehab done for 50 instead of 90, that brings your max allowable up a little bit. But I would be really careful. So when you go back and to estimate your after repaired value, because of those properties that are all available on that street, I would really look closely at those properties, and I would figure out why they haven't sold. So how long have they been on the market? What is the condition of those properties? Like, why haven't they sold? Call the listing agent, right? And ask, like, why are these properties still available? What's going on? And see if they can give you some context. But if there's a bunch of active properties on the same street, I'd just be a little bit cautious. Like, why isn't anybody buying in there? And then I would just make sure that I'm priced really aggressively. I'm not saying don't buy it. I'm just saying, you'd want to price under and make sure you're really aggressive with that. And then what was the other thing I was going to tell you? Oh, do you have it under contract? The other thing I will say, guys, is If I can help it, I would not send contractors out prior to getting a deal locked up under contract, especially if you're making a super lowball offer. It just feels like such a waste of time for me. And you just want to be respectful, not only your time but your contractor's time. And so I like to make things sight unseen if I can help it. All right. John said, "What's your Instagram name?" It's at Flippin' Empire. I'll put it in here so you guys can see it. You can send us a you of course can send us a DM on Instagram. Myself or Emily or somebody will catch it, and we can make sure you get your deal calculator, or if you have other questions or whatever, just hit us up in there. Okay, anybody else have any other questions? Oh, somebody had asked a question. I'm sorry. Can you borrow the property after you rehab and put renters instead of flipping the property? Yeah, of course you can. A flip and a burr are the same thing. Like I call it, I always think in my head, it's like you're flipping for profit, like you're flipping for cash or you're flipping for wealth. And the process is essentially the same. How you analyze the deal is almost always the same, especially for single family. Like if you were to burr that duplex, it would be a little bit different, right? Because of the how you're understanding like the valuation, right? The gross and the value. But it's essentially the same thing. You're just either taking the 25% profit essentially, or you're keeping that as equity in the property, which is what's going to allow you to refinance. So you either flip it and keep the cash, or you flip it and keep the wealth, keep the equity, and then have cash flow. Does I answer that question, Oliver? Tree fan. All right. Anybody else have a question in here? Otherwise, I will take a tour inside of. I'll take a tour inside of Launch and answer some questions in there that I've seen. Or I can try to do another deal in 15 minutes. What do you guys want? You want questions or another deal analysis? Got to do the wealth, yeah. What's up, Instagram? Nobody's coming on the Instagram. Maybe we won't do it anymore. Okay, Carol. Carol, you got any questions, Carol? You want me to go and look for questions? Okay, Erica said, how do you calculate reno cost without a contractor? So you can use the internet. Like, I hate to say it like that, but you could just put in, you could talk to ChatGPT and you could say, I'm looking for, how much on average does it cost for flooring or paint or whatever in my market? And you could probably get quite a bit of information that way. We have a ton of different cheat sheets inside of Launch. There should be some cheat sheets. Of course, inside of my program, we have like reno calculators and budget cheat sheets and stuff that you could use to kind of plug and play really quickly. Like I have what's called a reno whiteboard. So I know a property in my region that's like a mid-level renovation, it's going to cost me like $35,000. And so I will use that really quickly to just do my initial deal analysis. Now, you could grab mine, right? You could grab mine just to start and to give you a baseline. But from there, eventually, you're going to increase, like you're not going to increase, sorry, you're going to just refine that a little bit so that you understand what those costs are in your market and what makes sense for you. So Mr. Express over here, they gave us some like price per square foot. Light rehab, 40 a square foot. I think that's really high, to be honest. 60 a square foot for medium. Again, I think it's high, but it's going to be dependent on your region. It could be a little bit higher. I know you were looking at Myrtle Beach. It could be a little bit higher in Myrtle Beach just because it's a beach vacation town. But in my market, like a light rehab in my market would be like 15 to 20 a square foot maybe. So I would also make sure if you're using a cheat sheet like that or a hack like that, I would make sure to spend a little bit of time to justify this number. So you may have pulled it, like I've shared stuff like that on my Instagram and on my free accounts and whatever, to give you like those hack numbers, which is a great place to start, especially if you're just trying to understand how to do deal analysis. But you need to come back and verify those numbers. So you can verify those numbers again using ChatGPT or Google. There's software, like there's tons of information out there. But you could also, if you've picked your market, especially if you're going to be local, if you've picked your market, you could always find a property. Like if you had like Miss Glendon's house, just as an example, in your market, and you knew a contractor that maybe you wanted to work with on your future flip, you could always ask them like, hey, do you mind walking through this house with me for an hour? And you could essentially like create an example scope of work or an example renovation budget. And so that way, moving forward, you can use that as a guide. So when your contractor says, oh yeah, I could paint this house for $2,500, you might say, well, why would it be $2,500? And you say, well, I charge $3 a square foot. Okay. And you write that down. And so that's how you could essentially build out your own guide, right? Like a cheat sheet or some information for how you can do your deal analysis later. And when you're doing your initial deal analysis, you're going to use, right, your little cheat sheet or whatever, to just find out, like with Miss Glendon's example, she probably estimated based on her knowledge and experience the 91,000. When she gets her contractor to go through, he's going to come back and verify that information. And so that's going to be important. Does that make sense? Okay, good. Hopefully it makes sense. None of it's perfect, right? Like some of it we were just talking about this in my last call with the people I work with, but um, it's all, we're just trying to like mitigate the risk. We're just trying to understand to the best of our knowledge with the best information that we have, and then you just make a decision based on that. And if you're not confident in the numbers and your rehab, if you didn't get a contractor, like let's say you put a piece of property under contract and you weren't able to get contractors through, or like if Miss Glennie goes tomorrow and our contractor comes through and everybody says, well, it's going to be 150K, you probably don't want to go through with it. Or if you couldn't get anybody out there, you probably don't want to go through with it. So, but you just kind of got to start the next thing. And I always think you should go ahead and just start making offers on properties, certainly do deal analysis and get comfortable with it. Then go and make sure you've got your lending in place to be able to flip your property, and then go from there. The other thing I would recommend too is just making sure that you don't look at too many different strategies and just focus on, like, try to focus in one market at the beginning, right? If you guys are just doing your first deal, focus on one market. Like, don't go across the whole country. Don't look at deals everywhere. There's enough inventory in one market, and pick one strategy and just stay focused there. Okay. Like if you want to do 100K in real estate, this year in flips, like pick one market, one buy box, with one lender. You do that 4 times this year, and you're just focused on doing that one thing, you'll get there. Same with you if you want to scale to $1 million, it's going to be the same thing, right? One strategy, right? One type of property, etc. And move on. Okay. So nobody has any more questions over in here yet. Let's see. Oh, there. Oh, there's my Instagram handle. Okay, I'm going to check out what's happening in launch because that's what Carol suggested. And if you guys sitting on here with me today have any more questions, you just let me know. So let's see. Okay. So Stacia said, and I'm going to copy it here and I'll post it. This was the question. She said, I'm getting a bit confused on lending. Hard money versus private money. I do more buy and holds. So would I just use traditional financing? So, okay, hard money is an asset-backed lender. So a hard money lender, typically a hard money lender you're going to use for a fix and flip is pretty standard. You could use them for a rental property, but because their interest rates and stuff are so high, you typically wouldn't want to use them for a hold, right? Private money is just that. It's like individuals. So it's like a group of individuals, a single person. who have, or your like rich Uncle Bob, right, who have money that they can give you to buy properties. So I only use private money now. When I started, I used hard money and private money, right? We're looking to scale a little bit. I think I've got enough capital with just my private money. However, I if I ran out of cash for whatever reason, I would go and use hard money. Now, this is for flipping in particular. So she's looking to buy and hold. If you were to use traditional financing, which you can do with an investment property, typically you're going to need to put 25% down. Now, you'd want to have a DSCR loan, because if you don't have a DSCR loan, then that means that they're going to look at your personal debt to income ratio. And most people won't qualify once you get enough properties in. Now, if you make a whole bunch of money, then cool, like maybe you can afford it, you can go the traditional route, but eventually you'd want to have a DSCR loan. Okay, so they're going to look and make sure that the property has the equity and the property would cash flow. Now, Stacia typically deals in short-term rentals, I believe. So for us, with my long-term or my DSCR lender, they will require a lease in place. And it's a little bit harder for a short-term rental or an Airbnb, because you would need to have enough time to prove that the property is cash flowing, versus with the long-term, because you're showing like projected rents, and your tenant essentially is signing and saying they're going to pay you however much over the course of the year, that typically will allow you to qualify for a long-term rental. Okay, you can absolutely buy your property with traditional financing, put 20% down, especially for a short-term rental, and move on. You're just going to run out of cash. So if it were me, because I would want to scale that portfolio, I would probably essentially flip into a short-term rental. You're going to have some challenges on the refinance, but there's ways that you can overcome them, or you can find more lender relationships or whatever who might do that DSCR loan for you with a short-term rental. And I would probably flip it. So I'd buy it, I'd renovate it, I'd force appreciation, right? I get the renter in place, and then I'd refinance it. I'd use that BRRRR strategy that we talked about a little bit earlier, so that I was then leaving my equity in it, and I'm not using up all my cash. Now, if you've got cash sitting there, like if you've got a couple $100,000 and you just want to like plug in and build a portfolio, then cool, you can do that too. So it just depends, or maybe you're able to go and get financing, like DSCR financing, and you have like an equity partner who puts that down payment, right? It's just, if you start to use your own cash and you're leaving it tied up in the property, then you're just going to run out of cash. And so that just limits you. But it's so dependent on each individual and their goals and like what they want to do. And everybody is a little bit different. So I hope that this is a really good question. And real estate can be really, real estate is awesome and fun, because there's so many different ways you can go about it, and nuances to it, and every deal is different and everything is different. But at the same time, it is difficult, because there are so many different ways so you can do it, right? There's so many different variables that come into play. And that's why, especially when you're getting started, and even at my stage, because I'll tell you, like I had a call with my coach, right? My business mentor, I pay for coaching. I have people who are smarter than me, who have been further than I have, who are making the types of money and build the businesses that I want. I pay them to advise me because they've already been there. And it was the same conversation. It was like, don't pick multiple strategies. Like, just stay focused on what you know until you hit a certain level of scale that you want to. Because if you start looking at different lending types, and maybe not lending types, because you want to obviously have the capital, but if you can pick a strategy that works and you can stay focused in that, you'll be able to get a lot further faster, versus trying to flip and trying to BRRRR and doing short-term and long-term and all of this stuff. Like, let's get one going before you start adding those things. Now that you can't do both, like I flipped and built my portfolio at the same time. But they were pretty comparable. So I hope that helps. Okay. Vereen, I'm so sorry. I did not look at your deal. And unfortunately, guys, I cannot look at every deal on these calls, Do you guys like this format? Do you like looking through some deals and then having a couple questions at the end? How was that? Do you guys like that? I can always ask in the community too. Got 2 more minutes. So give me some feedback. This is how you want it done. We'll do a deal a week. Live deal or no deal. It's like way easier for you guys to just bring me a deal and I can look at it. Again, I cannot do deal analysis. Like I can't do deal analysis for you guys inside of the free community. Of course, you're welcome to post them. Maybe some other members would be able to help you with that. Of course, we've got tons of tools and videos and trainings. Hopefully that helps you. It is something I do for my clients. If they bring a deal to me, we'll look at it. So I can't promise I can get to everybody's, but I'll do my best. Vereen, if you come back next week, I'll do yours first. If you're here promptly at noon, 12:30. Okay, this format is good. Okay, you guys are awesome. You wouldn't refi into a conventional because a conventional, like the DSCR is like I always forget the C, so I'm not even going to say it out loud. But they're just looking at the debt service, right? They just want to make sure that the property can pay for the rents, and they've got the equity and all of that. Whereas a conventional loan, you're probably, I don't know that a conventional loan is going to work with an LLC or whatever. I guess they would with an investor, but they probably are going to look at your personal debt to income more than they're going to look at the actual property. I'm not a lender, so you might want to verify it with somebody else, but I don't know why you would go with a conventional lender. I don't think it would be most advantageous for you. All right, I got to go pick up my daughter and go to the playground for a couple hours, and then I got to get back to work. So it was so nice to see everybody. Thank you. I'm sorry we had a little hiatus here on our live calls, but I do really enjoy doing these with you guys. Hopefully the deal analysis helps. It's the most important skill that you need to have as a real estate investor. And thank you, Carol. Thanks for being here. And we'll see you next week. It could be on YouTube. It could be on Zoom. I don't know. Thanks, Oliver, for Tree Fan. You have a great day too. You guys are awesome. Come say hi inside of the launch community. If you have any questions, if you're interested in getting some support, I've got a pretty amazing program. I haven't even disclosed it to anybody yet, but basically we're gonna have my team help you execute really quickly. So if you're interested in that, send me a DM as well. Bye. You guys are awesome.